So in 2020, I quiet quit my job, and it was, without a doubt, the best decision of my life.
And since then, I've created several online businesses and became financially free. But before I tell you what quiet quitting is, it's not quitting your job, why you need to join and the best way to do it, I need to explain how we got here. While the world was at a standstill from the pandemic and people's stress levels were higher than Snoop Dogg, a brand new movement was born in China called lying flat. Many young people were increasingly pressured to work harder, to outperform their peers, and dedicate their lives to their jobs. So they retaliated by not doing their jobs. And people now are adopting this revolutionary mindset in the US where, and hear me out because it does get quite radical, instead of people living to work, they work to live. Crazy, I know. But let's be perfectly clear. Quiet quitters aren't actually peacing out and quitting their jobs. It's more like this. Hey chump, new assignment on my desk tomorrow at 8 a.m. Sorry boss, no can do. I'm only paid from 9 to 5 and it's already 5:01 unless you want to pay me overtime. Hahaha, always a jokester. How about this? I'll pay you with my appreciation instead. Good luck with that. I'll see you tomorrow at 9. Wait, hold on. Maybe I should ask for overtime too. Quiet quitting is simply just no longer going above and beyond for a job that refuses to match your increase in effort with an increase in pay. I still remember the first day at my corporate job. I was so ignorantly excited to get a taste of the corporate world, especially as a first-generation college student. I personally felt like it was a huge milestone for myself and indirectly in a way my parents, because it meant that their sacrifices were worth it, in a way. I mean, finance is one of the top careers immigrant parents dream of for their kids, right after being a doctor and then a lawyer and then an engineer, I guess, and then finance. So the top 4 preferred career for immigrant parents. Not bad. But soon I realized that I've been bamboozled. I was thirstier than a fish and drank the corporate Kool-Aid hard. For example, not only did I do my assigned job at work, I would then go into the bathroom, put on my clown makeup, and actively seek out more work from my bosses, volunteering to help out with a never-ending list of additional projects, like my dumb wasn't already working 70 hours weeks. And my absolute favorite part about this? Free labor. I wasn't getting paid more to do any of this. So what exactly was I hoping for in the end? That I would be blessed with a 1% raise at the end of the year so I can afford to see a doctor and ask if it's medically okay that my blood is now composed of 90% black coffee. I was indoctrinated to believe that my worth as a person was defined by how hard I could work and how much I could accomplish for someone else. And it also didn't help that executives would pressure us to do more and go above and beyond with stupid motivational speeches like, you know what? Here, Kevin is a perfect example.
Quiet quitting is a really bad idea.
Really? How come, Kevin?
The whole point is you're there to make the business work.
I agree. I'm there to make the business work, and I'll do that for the hours that I'm paid.
You have to go beyond not because you're forced to. You have to go beyond because you want to.
Hold on, Kevy Kev. You want me to go above and beyond and give more of my time so I can make the business more money? Fine, but can you pay me some of that extra money that I'm helping you make more of?
Those individuals are not doing it for the greed of money.
But aren't you doing it for the greed of money?
They're doing it because it's part of their ethos, it's part of their DNA. Those are the people I seek.
Got it. So you're looking for people who will do free labor for you. All I'm hearing you say is work your life away so I can be wealthier. In retrospect, it's pretty clear what my bosses were just trying to do. It's just capitalism, baby. And it is kind of funny what the media is trying to do now. You know, creating this sensational narrative to make the younger generation appear lazy, entitled, and ungrateful with this quiet quitting trend. All because this new generation is setting boundaries and completing the tasks that they're supposed to complete within the time that they're paid to do them. Outrageous. But this is the same sort of script that fuels the generational divide that's been going on since the documentary The Land Before Time was filmed. Every older generation thinks that their younger generation doesn't understand true struggle or hardship, because back in their day, they had to walk 8 miles to school every single day in a snowstorm without shoes. And most of the older folk think that all younger folk do now is complain and complain, which might be true, but isn't that the whole point of societal and technological advancements? To make life easier and more comfortable for future generations so they can spend time doing other things. But then again, maybe the older generation wants the entire world to revert back to thousands and thousands of years ago, where we experienced true hardship as hunter-gatherers and we had to hunt for our own food. Now that older generation understood true struggle. But if you feel too guilty to even consider quiet quitting, look at it this way. To most employers, you are just another cog in the machine to maintain maintain their money-making engine, expendable and easily replaceable. Do you want to have the same description as chewing gum? Sure, employers generously pay at least the federal minimum wage of a whopping $7.25 per hour. And the federal minimum wage hasn't been raised since 2009, while the cost of living has. Prices overall are now nearly 40% higher than in 2009, thanks to our beautiful friend, inflation. And sure, if you suck up to your boss and sell your soul, you might get a solid 1 or 2% raise, but still, that is less than inflation. What fascinates me is that companies expect undying loyalty from their workers, but when profits are in question or the CEO wants a new Lamborghini, that loyalty is never reciprocated. Understand this. If your company's profits start to suffer and they don't make that second $1 billion that they need to, they have no problem getting rid of you. And they also don't give half a Snickers bar about their customers either. Remember when these companies pinky promised that they were struggling and they needed to raise prices to offset costs because of inflation? But out of 100 US corporations analyzed, net profits were actually up by a median of 49% in 2022, and in one company's case, as much as 111,000%. If that's called struggling, and sign me up. So is quiet quitting really the right word to describe all of this? It is a bit negative, so some more accurate names could be doing the job you're paid to do. Or what about setting proper boundaries to protect your health and well-being? It's 2022, y'all. Gallup surveys found that workers who are neither engaged nor actively disengaged at work, aka quiet quitters, make up at least half of the US workforce. So it might be time to partake in this activity, and I'll show you the best way to do it in just 1 minute. Thinking back, there was one particular conversation I had a few years ago that completely changed my life. And it was the final straw that convinced me to become a quiet quitter, way before it became trendy, which means that I'm kind of an OG. It went like this. Hey man, I'm really worried about putting more effort into my side hustle and focusing less on my real job. Why? What's the worst that can happen? Well, everything can fail. I can lose my job and my side hustle doesn't make anything. Yeah, and what would you do next? I would have to look for another job then. Exactly, you can't lose. Your worst case scenario is you end up in the same scenario that you currently are in. To this day, I still remember that conversation very vividly because it's the main reason I'm where I am today. It was that side hustle that I was working on that gave me the freedom and the opportunity to fully quit my job because I eventually cash flowed more from it than from my real job. And if you want to learn how to cash flow $100,000 in just 12 months, join the waitlist, link down below. Now, before you decide to be a cool kid, just keep in mind that quiet quitting is a double-edged sword. There is definitely a risk that you can get fired because employers do get rid of the lowest performers first. And scarily enough, companies are getting smarter, or more exploitative depending on where you stand. 8 out of the 10 largest US companies are starting to track the productivity of individual workers, and more companies are investing in digital productivity monitoring software, which is completely crazy to me. They're doing everything they can, but pay their employees more. So if you're scared about potentially getting fired, don't be, because I'll reveal the secret strategies that I use to best financially prepare myself in just 1 minute. But first, here's how to quiet quit and act your wage. Step 1, don't tell anyone you're quiet quitting. You want to make sure this is done on the DL as much as possible, because once you let one person know, gossipy Giselle will make sure the entire town across from you will find out too. Step 2, start getting to and leaving work on time. I know, revolutionary idea, right? But you do want to develop a strong tendency to work just for the hours that you're paid, which means that yes, you can stop having those fake polite conversations with the annoying coworker that you don't really like, but you have to be cordial with. Step 3, finish all the extra projects that you've already taken on, but don't take on any new extra projects that don't pertain to your work. Now, obviously, you can't just give up on everything you do from the start because, well, that's too obvious. You want to start easing off slowly and start to give people the impression that you're not someone who has extra free time to pick up more stuff anymore because you're working so hard on your actual work. Step 4, actually take your lunch break and do it away from your desk. And if anyone asks why, say that you're trying to be more worldly and partaking in French culture. Step 5, overstate just how much effort is required for your work. Give yourself lots of breathing room so that no one thinks your high quality work is effortless. You really want to describe everything you're working on as an agonizing experience. And you might want to sprinkle in a little bit of issues from your personal life while you're at it so you seem really busy inside and outside of work. Step 6, start to scale back slowly, prioritizing what absolutely must get done to keep your job. Maintain a great can-do attitude for the work that falls under your purview. If you're historically known as a super high-performing overachiever, nerd, but also good job, people will notice if you quiet quit too quickly. So take it nice and easy. easy. Look, the truth is, no one on their deathbed ever wishes they worked harder, which is why it's really important you start taking your finances seriously before you do anything else. The main reason is because money allows you to have more freedom, such as the freedom to quit your job, and these 4 lessons will help you get there. Seriously, I had to read over 300 finance books just to learn them. Click here to check it out now.